Today, we're going to keep talking about our corrective exercises and how to really accommodate those injuries for our shoulders and knees, because those have to do with our 2 push assessments that we're doing for this phase. So we'll go through some common injuries with the shoulders and knees. We'll go through some corrective exercises. So what are some contraindications for those exercises, and how to seamlessly transition them into that 45 or hour-long session without disrupting the true essence of an F45 workout. So the first injury we'll go through is a meniscal tear. Lots of people have a meniscal tear. They say 90% of Americans have a meniscal tear, but like 40% actually experience pain. This is very common. If you don't know what your meniscus is, it's pretty much a shock absorber in your kneecap. And how this gets torn is usually by twisting, pivoting, rotation in a fast way. It continues to tear and tear until they feel a lot of pain there. Usually surgery is the only way to truly remove it, but we can do some other things in the studio that will help them work around the pain and help get their quad stronger while we go through things like lunges and squats. One of the main deep contraindications, things you don't want to do when it comes to a meniscal tear, is going to be those deep squats. So getting past that 90 degrees or pushing their knee too far forward over a lunge, and then obviously pivoting, rotation in that knee is going to hurt as well. And we want to definitely eliminate high impact. So things like box jumps or skaters, we probably want to take out the high impact and go to a low impact version of those movements. Now, some corrective exercises we can do in between or instead of are going to be straight leg raises. Straight leg raises are a very easy one. I'm going to slide myself back, show you some straight leg raises. But we're going to pretty much squeeze one quad down and just raise up the other leg. This is still going to help work the hip flexor, right, as they get that good quad engagement, and you're just going to raise that leg straight up. I like to do these with a band as well. Sometimes it's very helpful. Obviously, we can modify our squats, right? We can go with a staggered stance squat, a more closed stance squat, whatever range of motion feels more comfortable for that member and they can work through pain-free. That's the range of motion we want them to work in. Be very mindful of loading these movements, especially these corrective exercises. Make sure they have that mind-muscle connection. Make sure they're really feeling it before you move on and you start loading it up heavy. Heel slides are just going to be like your glute bridge heel slides, but you're going to eliminate the glute bridge. And sometimes it's going to be in a smaller range of motion as well. So if you're back on the floor, keep your heels on the floor, and you're just sliding your leg out, squeezing your quad down as you slide out. So rather than trying to, when we do our usual heel hamstring curls, we're trying to get that glute and hamstring recruitment. Here, we're going to really kick the heel out and squeeze that quad to get as much quad engagement, and then bring it back in. Release that tension, bring it back in. Calf stretches are also going to help alleviate a lot of knee pain. Loosening the hips, the calves, everywhere usually helps that joint, especially with a meniscal tear. MCL and LCL sprains, we see these a lot as well. This is another very common injury. You're going to hear about either pain on the inside of the knee or on the outside. So your MCL is going to be on the inside, your inside ligament of your knee, and your LCL is going to be on that outside. Banded abductions are going to be great for your MCL. So just kicking that leg out to the side, tell members to really drive through their heel. Put that mini band on, pigeon toe yourself a little bit, so toes are facing inwards, and really drive out through your heel. A lot of glute min recruitment there. A little bend in the knee is okay, but if they can keep their leg nice and straight, that's even better. For their LCL, those lateral step down, so standing up on top of a box, even if it's a nice small box, pushing their butt back and working on stepping down nice and slow while driving their knee outward. This is going to help their knee track correctly and help build back up that quadricep without hurting that MCL. The same contraindications go for the MCL and LCL sprain as does your meniscal tear. We want to avoid that high impact stuff, the twisting, the rotation, the deep squats past that range of motion, those deep lunges where that knee's pushing way far over the knee. The more they stack the joint, the better that it's going to be. So keep their joints stacked and stable. Quadriceps tendonitis, I bet most of us are experiencing a lot of this right now with all the lunges and squats we're doing, especially if you're doing a little bit of running right now and getting prepared for high rocks. So you're going to feel a lot of pain right above your kneecap, so right above your patella, right on that quadriceps tendon there. It's going to just feel like extreme soreness, like that never goes away, no matter how much you foam roll it, how much you stretch it. And actually one of the contraindications is stretching it under load. So taking a barbell or a dumbbell or something to sink yourself down to try to get a deeper stretch in there, it's only going to make it more inflamed and make it hurt more. One of the things we can do to correct this exercise are resistive knee extensions. So that's just a knee extension like on a box using a mini band right across the legs there. And you're just going to go out till you can feel some quad engagement going. You don't have to go all the way out to that open knee extension where your leg is straight out in front of you and completely locked out. But you're just trying to get a little bit more blood flow in that area and get it to loosen up a little bit. Slow split squats are really good as well. Remember, they want to start up in that nice wide stance, and they should be on that train track, not that tightrope. So their legs should be evenly spread apart. And they're really going to focus on keeping their chest up nice and tall. And once again, good joint stacking. So they're dropping their back knee straight down. Their front knee is going to stay right above their ankle. Whatever range of motion they feel pain-free, that's what you're going to work in, and try to get deeper and deeper and better range of motion every time. The reverse Nordics are probably the best. When I was going through some quadriceps tendonitis, which was really weird, it was only on my right leg, because I'm guessing because I'm right leg dominant. This one was the best one for it. And this is one of the exercises how you bulletproof your knees. So if you stand up nice and tall, lean back a little bit, and you're going to get onto your tippy toes, and you start pushing your knees forward, you're going to feel your quads start to stretch up here, a lot of glute engagement as well. Then you just drive your heel down from there and squeeze your quads up. You'll get a small range of motion at first. You can do this by holding onto a Regal bar or something to balance on and just trying to get deeper and deeper range of motion every time. The first 2 or 3 reps are going to be very shallow, but then you'll be able to push it even further and further, and ultimately trying to get your knees all the way down and all the way up. And if you can do it, body weight, definitely send me a challenge video. I'll see if I can match it up. All right, we're going to get into the shoulder now. So we worked our way down, and we're going to work our way up. We have a lot of shoulder stuff going on. And the rotator cuff tear is probably the most common. All right, this is going to happen usually from some overuse or something, usually acute, usually something like a fall will get a rotator cuff tear, or poor mechanics on something like a snatch or something like that. But with our rotator cuff, some contraindications are going to be lifting extremely heavy. Upright rows are going to be contraindication, and heavy overhead presses. Like, what, Mitch? Overhead presses are bad. They're part of our assessments. I know. Trust me. Overhead presses are going to be bad, but one thing I want you guys to realize as well is different ranges of motion are going to still be okay. So a heavy overhead press in a position that hurts is something you don't want to do. But if we can internal rotate the shoulders a little bit more and it's more comfortable to press there, that's okay. Usually more external rotation is going to hurt a lot. So tell members to just kind of drive their elbows a little bit more to the front, a little bit more of a neutral grip, even if they're holding a barbell, will be a little bit more comfortable than having their arms a little bit wider. One of the best corrective exercises are going to be some lying external rotations. You can get these going while somebody's doing a bench press. Just have them turn to their side while they're lying on that bench with that dumbbell and go do some big external rotation. So they're going to keep their elbow nice and pinned into their ribs and just try to rotate their palm outward and feel that stretch in their shoulder, controlling it on the way up and on the way down. Scapular squeezes, literally just squeezing those back muscles together, popping the chest out, trying to crack that walnut right in between your spine, right? And then a nice slow release. And obviously reverse flies with that mini band or that power band, driving up those elbows. Those are going to be great ones for the rotator cuff as well, really because they work those rear delt muscles, and that's going to ultimately help get your rotator cuff stronger. All right, so the labral tear is going to be that ring of cartilage that's in your humerus, that ring of cartilage that's going to get tear in some sort of fast acute injury as well, right? But one of the great things is isometric external rotation. So mini band right over the wrist, one elbow's pinned in, the other one's going to externally rotate. So I'm driving my left arm out, keeping it pinned to my wrist, and I'm just going to hold it there for 2 to 3 seconds, right? Maybe using that first 30 seconds to do a little bit of this stimulus work before you get into that shoulder press. It might be a great idea, and that's a good way to integrate some of these corrective exercises into the F45 workout. You want to really avoid end range of motion lifts. So pressing may still feel really fine and good, but they don't want to go to that end range of motion, because then the head of their humerus is going to be just pushing right up against that torn part of their labrum, and it can cause them a lot of pain. Another thing you really want to avoid is heavy bicep curls. Heavy bicep curls are going to push and pull on that tendon as well that's connected into your labrum, and could cause more inflammation and more aggravation. So bicep curls are still okay, but I would stay away from heavy bicep curls. Shoulder impingement, pretty sure I have this right now, either that or bursitis. But shoulder impingement, that's going to be when that AC joint and your bursa are compressed, causing a lot of inflammation in there. You might hear somebody complain about clicking or cracking as they try to rotate their shoulder. Usually it's just signs of a shoulder impingement. Overhead presses are definitely going to be something they don't want to do. Stuff like burpees, bench press, lateral raises. You're like, yeah, these are all shoulder exercises that we do all the time, Mitch. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you how to fix them, okay? There's no problem. So once again, changing that degree in their elbows or their shoulders for a shoulder press, they can probably find a comfortable position to overhead press in. Same thing with their bench press, right? You might not be able to stay at that 45. Neutral grip might feel a little bit better, or incline might feel a little bit better. So adjusting that bench, adjusting their hands, adjusting their arms, their range of motion, they'll be able to do these exercises pain-free. Same thing goes to lateral raises. Most of the time when we're doing our lateral raises, our palms are facing down or driving up with our elbows. Externally rotating the shoulders a little bit more is going to get them to use their rotator cuff a little bit more, use their anterior delts a little bit more, their deltoid muscles in general, and not just leave it on that lateral head of their shoulder, which is going to just cause that AC joint to squeeze and drive more inflammation. Good corrective exercises to do in between sets or right before are things like scat push-ups. Scapular push-up, you can do it on all fours or on your toes. I like to do it on all fours just to get more of the engagement of my scapula and not worry about stabilizing myself so much with my arms, but working those shoulders back and down, squeezing those shoulder blades together, depressing them, and then releasing. And then from here, I'm thinking protract and round with the spine, right? So from the T-spine, I'm trying to squeeze here, force my shoulders back and down. And then I'm going to exhale, release, and feel my shoulder blades separate across my rib cage. Pendulums are another great one. This one, you definitely need a kettlebell or a heavy weight. With pendulums, what we're trying to do is increase that subacromial space between your clavicle and shoulder. So here you're just hinging over at the waist, grabbing something like a heavy kettlebell, letting and feeling your shoulder blade kind of pull out the socket. From here, you're just going to go through some small circles, think clockwise and counterclockwise. Funny, as I'm doing this, I can hear my shoulder click in and out. So definitely thinking I'm shoving shoulder impingement. But the same way we do pendulums is the same way I like to teach shoulder retractions, right? So in between sets, once again, we can get a couple pendulums in. I can swing maybe 5 or 6 circles one way, and then I'm just going to do some retractions. Similar to my scat push-up, I'm going to force my shoulder back and down, try to retract it as much as possible, and then just let it release. Back and down, and just let it release. And that's just getting your shoulder joint, your humerus, your scapula, all those shoulder muscles, your rotator cuff to work a little bit better together and help deal with that shoulder impingement in a productive way. Sprains are probably the most common things. Sprain is really hard to define, but this is going to be when that ligament and that AC joint is slightly injured, right? So we have maybe a small tear there, maybe a slight pull, and that member is feeling pain in that shoulder. So definitely want to avoid stuff that hurts, those bench presses, those lateral raises, those overhead presses, but we can do stuff that really helps them. Bent over rows, any way they can rotate their arm to get those rows in is going to be beneficial. Lateral raises are going to be a good one for that shoulder sprain as well. So they're going to help it get stronger because you're going to isolate that single muscle group and help it get it stronger. But you just want to be very, once again, mindful of how you're rotating the hands and what position they're going through. Remember, shouldn't be straight out to the side. They should be able to see those dumbbells or whatever weight they're using, even if it's body weight, out of the corners of their eyes. All right, fam. So tying this all together, I want you guys to take this back to your members, take this back to your coaches who haven't seen it yet, coach them up a little bit. We want to warm up with mobility and activation exercises, right? Lots of these exercises I showed you guys, you can be used as activation. So your members are coming in, they're telling you about these injuries. When they come into the studio, you're going through stages with them. You can give them two of these exercises to get their joints ready to go. Find, focus, corrective blocks. Remember, red is your green, right? That's when you're talking to a member, you're showing them that 1 or 2 corrective exercises, and then you're getting them to do it within that working set, and then following up with them to make sure they continue to do it. Creating those combo sets for push movements. I'm going to go through my lateral raises or my external rotation as I'm going through my bench press, right? Making that combo set. So maybe I'm working for the entire time I'm at that station, But, I'm doing a corrective exercise, which is less intense, but still getting good muscle engagement while I'm going through my big muscle groups, really getting them stronger. Practicing that active recovery between sets, same thing. That's that deep breathing. I'm doing something less intense, like those knee slides instead of hamstring curls as I'm working my glutes to recover a little bit between sets, let my glutes relax, work my quads a little bit, get my knees feeling a lot better. Make sure we're keeping the flow aligned with the class format. We don't want to get out of line, get out of crazy, have people at different stations doing random things. I know it can feel overwhelming sometimes, but if you just talk to a member, go through a station with them, take this time to show them, number one, they truly appreciate it. Number two, it's going to keep them coming back, and it's going to keep them coming back to your class. After you get them going 1 or 2 stations, I promise you, they got it on their own. You just go and check in with them. You reinforce those cues that you were try to drive home with them, and they're going to be more than grateful that you were there to help them. We'll keep it kind of condensed for the shoulder and knee that you guys have dealt with yourself or you're having trouble with a member in the studio.
Yeah, someone dealing with an injury, minor injury, where they're still able to work, but then they change the exercise because they're like, oh, my shoulder hurts, I don't really want to do that. And then you go up to them and be like, well, what range of motion, whatever it is, you try to help them out, but they just won't. They just want to do something completely different. And I always try to, as a F45 coach, if we need to change it up, we can change it up, still trying to target the same muscle group we're trying to attack.
Yeah. And in those situations, they're case by case. You're the coach. You are the expert in the room, especially when somebody's dealing with an injury and they don't know how to fix it and they don't have as much experience as you. You got to be a little creative in that case, right? Like, hey, this is actually going to help you. I know you don't want to try external rotations. You think they're going to hurt your shoulder because it's still a shoulder exercise, but bent over rows aren't the point of this station, and they're not going to really help your shoulder as much as the exercise could. So if you can give this a shot for 1 or 2 reps, or if I could show you out after class how this can be beneficial for you, I think you'd be grateful by the end of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. Go ahead, Anna.
I was just going to add to that. Your knowledge is so powerful as a tool for people who might have a little bit of resistance. If you give them a very specific why, they kind of can't argue with you. Science is science. Everybody wants to heal their injury. Everybody wants to get stronger. Everybody wants to improve. And doing these exercises are going to allow you to do this thing that you want to do 2 weeks from now. They're going to want to take that seriously. And just like you said, Mitch, they're going to respect you so much more. You're going to develop that relationship and you're going to then get to watch them get stronger. And that's just so rewarding.
I love it. Absolutely. You don't have to be so humble all the time. You guys are excellent coaches. Let them know your street cred. Let them know you take courses. You got a certification. You know what you're talking about. This stuff works, right? You're not just telling them some hocus pocus or some gym bro science, but like actual real science that works, right? This is what your physical therapist is going to tell you to do when you go to physical therapy. So we can try it here right now, or you can make that appointment 3 weeks out. And they'll tell you to do the same exact thing. And then I'm going to tell you to do the same thing when you come back.
Plus, you're already paying for what you're getting here. You don't need to pay your physical therapist for them to tell you the same thing.
All right, fam. Well, continue to go out there and coach them up. Really try to work in these correctives. Lots of people are intimidated to try F45 because they're dealing with some of these injuries. So if you even let them know that you can help them with some of these injuries right off the bat, they're just going to be more likely to become members at your studio and stay a lot longer. That's less suspensions, that's less cancellations, that's more growth for you, that's more growth for your studio. So get out there and give it a good shot, and please give me your feedback. And I'm always here if you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, crazy case studies. I want to hear them. I'll help you figure them out and help you solve them.
Thank you, Mitch.
No problem, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys very soon.